Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole Lore and Frame, the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. Emulators are over. They're done. They're irrelevant. They can't succeed. They're not popular, and they're illegal. I think the past couple of weeks have really demonstrated that very well, in that Nintendo Switch Online is taking off. It's becoming an extremely popular service. We're getting all these crazy games on there, games that people told me would never become legally available through the service. Games like GoldenEye are becoming well known and regarded among gamers as being a major draw to Nintendo Switch Online. But more than that, perhaps more than anything else, is that Nintendo is doing things that emulators simply cannot do. And that is completely remaster, improve, and add new content to pre-existing games. Games like Metroid Prime Remastered and the upcoming Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe are massive improvements over the original game. It's not simply the original thing upres that like 1080p to 60 FPS. You're talking about like completely retextured models. We're talking about like upgraded visuals, uh, rebalancing changes. We have, you know, uh, Kirby Return to Dreamland is running on the Star Allies engine. We have new content for that game. There's all these situations with these remakes and re-releases, games like Link's Awakening Switch that adds in the Zelda Maker mode, all this stuff that simply is not in the older versions of games. And a lot of these games are stuff that haven't been available for all that long. Return to Dreamland came out in 2011, right? That was a heavily downplayed Wii game, right? That is a really good example of a game that was like heavily downplayed by the gaming community as just being like a lazy rehashed Wii game, when the gamers didn't realize at the time that like Kirby had not had a 2D platformer on console for over a decade at that point, right? The thing is, Nintendo is actually making these games readily available to the public with new interesting features that far surpass what emulation can do for you, right? That is the reality of the situation. The meme that emulators like to push, that pirates like to push, that the games are superior on PC is simply not true. The myth that emulation is like the go-to easily accessible way to access all of these old Nintendo games is untrue. The fact that these people have to jump through so many hoops to like get all these emulators up and running, to pirate ROMs, to do this or that, when really these games are readily available on Nintendo Switch through either a purchase or through the subscription service. There is simply no real justification for emulation, despite what pirates constantly try to tell you. And that is becoming more and more readily true by the day. It's interesting to me to see how people, after the release of Metroid Prime Remastered, how the emulators, how the shills tried to push this meme that like Prime Hack, which is like some highly specialized mod of like the Metroid Prime trilogy that adds in motion controls, that like up reses the game, that does all this stuff. I believe it has like keyboard and mouse support. Like they pulled this mod out of their ass to try and justify why uh to try and give like some kind of a reason, some kind of excuse to not play the game on Nintendo hardware, when in reality most people were like playing and enjoying the game on Nintendo Switch, right? It was just an attempt at trying to keep the fraud going for a little bit longer, like to try and convince the public that there was any kind of momentum behind the emulation movement, when that clearly isn't the case at all. There is a reason that people want games to come out on NSO. There is a reason people want games to be re-released on Nintendo hardware. There is a reason people want to be able to play these games on Nintendo hardware. Because emulation is simply not a replacement for real official releases. And the fact that so many people have sworn by emulation, by piracy, as an actual justifiable excuse to be more invested in PC gaming is than console gaming is laughable. It is downright pathetic. It is absurd. Imagine not giving money to developers who are producing video games for your enjoyment. Imagine if everyone just pirated Prime 3, we would never have gotten Metroid Prime 4. We would never have gotten like Dread or like Samus Returns or Metroid Prime Remastered even. Like Nintendo would have just like, gone out of business a long time ago if everyone did what the pirates said we should do and just download ROMs off the internet. Like that is the situation we're in. Okay? In that like pirates really want you to believe that there is some viable alternative to Nintendo hardware to play Nintendo games when that is simply not the case and never ever will be.